A long, long time ago, during the Great God Wars, there lived 6 brothers. They were farmers who cultivated the land, but it was very clear to anyone paying attention that they had much more to give to the world. Even though most of their days were spent looking after the farm, it would be clear that through all their hard work, handling spades and rakes, they were unknowingly becoming great fighters. In normal times, these 6 brothers would just remain regular farmers, but these weren't normal times. This was the age of the God Wars. While everybody was cowering in their shelters, waiting for the wars to end, the brothers stepped up. They didn't do it out of the kindness of their heart. They didn't do it to help the people. They did it because they had a thirst for fame. But although their skills in combat had become well known in their small village, they were no match for any of the divine creatures fighting in the God Wars. But there was one person ever watchful. He always had his lidless eyes fixed on this family. He saw them mature in their combat skills and noticed their desire of becoming legends. The stranger, later to be revealed to be Sliske, was a follower of the now forgotten god Barrows. The stranger was cunning and had serpent-tongued qualities, able to trick and betray allies at a whim. He came up to the 6 brothers and bestowed upon them magical artifacts, which he found during his many travels, which would grant them incredible power. They did not hesitate, which they would later regret. Aram picked up the staff, making him able to crumble his enemies with powerful magic. Darok took the great axe and Torag the hammers, crushing their enemies with incredible force. And if there were any enemies left, or a particular foe strong enough to offer any resistance, Carol would spray his body from afar with bolts from his crossbow. Many of their victims ran off as soon as they saw the brothers approaching. But Torag and Varrock always had the escape routes covered. Torag would smash them with his hammers, pounding them into the dirt, making them unable to flee, while Varrock would crush them with his flail, destroying all the hopes and prayers that remained. None survived an assault from the brothers. And all the while, the stranger was patiently waiting and remained ever watchful. With their great successes in battle, the brothers joined arms with the god Seradimin, who offered them great armies of knights, priests, and wizards to help them fulfill their quest of destroying all the evil in the world. Their final campaign was to repel the vampire armies, led by Lord Drakan, from the lands of Mauritania. The battles went on for weeks, slowly pushing back the evil forces, and the stranger always followed in their footsteps. Through the mingled limbs of slaughtered vampires he walked, stalking the brothers each time they set up camp, like a predator waiting to strike. He walked around, hooded and cloaked, and to most he seemed like any other refugee, but his gaze was always on the brothers, and they felt it. The hair on their neck would stand up every time the stranger was watching, but when they turned around, no one was there. They took their campaign all the way to the Great Firewall, but eventually, through months of struggle and many losses, Lord Drakan had gotten the upper hand. They were in his territory now. Not only that, but slowly the brothers' powers began to wane. They now understood the deal they unwillingly made by picking up the stranger's weapons. The great power they had acquired separated them from mortal men. And now, with the stranger's snake-tongued voice sounding in their heads, they were also separated from each other. Arim's spells would miss, Darok's strength declined, and Guthan weakened by the day. And on the next day, the brothers were defeated. Wounded in battle, the brothers and their army had to retreat and set up camp just west of Myrditch. And soon, all the brothers would die to their infected wounds. The army was scattering to the wind, scared, hoping to be able to get back to their homes. But a few people stood up, reminding everyone of the courage and the bravery of the brothers, and they all vowed to honor their martyred generals. They stayed west of Mireditch, repelling the vampire forces for 6 days and 6 nights, constructing the burial mounds, or barrows as we know them, where they still remain. Evening came, and the sun fell low on the Barrows. All of the armies retreated, until only one person remained, the stranger. And in the heart of this cursed land, the cloaked figure took off his hood, revealing his scarred face, and stretched out his hands. He chanted an ancient spell in some foul, forgotten language. A vulgar, purple light formed in front of him, fell to the earth, and bled into each of the barrows, forcing them to rise and stay in their barrows forever. And that's basically the story behind the Barrows brothers. This is one of the coolest pieces of lore I've ever read. It reminded me a lot of the Deathly Hallows and the Nazgul, so I thought I'd make a short story out of it. I hope you liked my bit of dramatic reading, and I hope it wasn't too cringe. I was going for that Lord of the Rings Galadriel intro vibe, if you know what I mean. If you're a big Barrows enthusiast like myself and you want to rock some OSRS merch, check out my shop. I made a t-shirt for myself and I uploaded it to my store so you guys can look as cool as me. There will be a link at the top of the description. I was originally gonna put some Barrows lore in my guide, but decided to make it into a separate video because I doubt a lot of people looking for a guide are interested in the lore. If you want to check out my guide, I should have it up by Sunday, so make sure you're subscribed and have that bell on so you don't miss it. And if you're watching this video in the future, there should be a link on screen now. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.